And as I stepped out of bed, my knees were so weak, kutatazela, like they had jello, bengathi kunojeli, and I was like, I can't even walk. Hello my sugar bingo boongers, welcome back to my channel. I will be announcing the 2 lucky giveaway winners during this video, so don't touch that dial. For me, it's the fact that we went from 3,000 subscribers to almost 7,000 subscribers in just 2 weeks. What? We are on a roll. We are on fire. I'm over the moon. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. You mean the world to me. You are literally famo. The comments, so much love, so much support, so much positivity, so much warmth. And that is why I always urge people to spread all those positive things like they are confetti. You guys stopped me from jumping off the ledge. You guys helped me retain my sanity. It felt as though, and it still feels as though, you guys are holding my hand through the most difficult period that I've ever had to go through in my whole entire life. 2 weeks ago, I lost my father. And of course, I'm not happy about my father's passing, but I'm happy that he passed away right after I had posted that video about healing and childhood traumas and how important it is for us to talk, to speak up and speak out and voice our opinions, our pains, our grievances in order for the perpetrators, in order for the abusers to know that we know what they did. To know that we remember what they did, to know that asbasabi, we are not afraid of them, to know that we're all grown up and they will never, ever walk all over us again and expect to get away with it like they used to or like they did when we were younger and when we were vulnerable and when we were defenseless. During my dad's transition, he supported that whole movement so much, more than anybody else. Every single day after our conversation about whatever, regardless of how lighthearted the conversation would be, he would be like, yo, don't forget to post those videos. I'm serious. I mean it. And I'd be like, yo, Baba, nah, let's not do it now. And he was like, if not now, then when? Because I know that these things still bother you. The fact that so many of these things happened when you were still so young, yet you still remember them, shows me that they bother you. The fact that I was there when most of these things happened, and I myself didn't think that you would remember them today after so many years, shows me that they have affected you in the craziest, in the wildest, in the most painful ways. And therefore, you cannot heal what you don't reveal, my child. And I also want you to know that your healing is my healing. So if you're still hurting, guess who else is hurting? Me, your father. So I want you to talk about these things. I want you to expose the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I want you to help other people heal from their traumas. But most importantly, I want you to heal from these traumas, because if you don't heal, I don't heal. If you don't forgive those people or that person, I don't forgive those people or that person. Do you understand? And I was like, yeah, Bubab. Yes, Dad, I understand. And maybe at some point in life, I will release those videos. But right now, let's chill and see what happens. And he was like, the one thing that would make me happy right now is for you to just heal so you can move on and prosper. Because prosperity is your portion, my child. But you will not get to enjoy that portion when you're still holding on to all of this hurt. And that in turn hurts me as your father. So do it for me. Do it. And although I didn't release those detailed videos, I released something along those lines. And I highlighted the importance of speaking on our traumas, expressing our feelings, taking mental illnesses seriously, the importance of respecting each other, forgiveness, healing, how to attract your blessings. I showed my dad right after I had filmed that video. I then sent him a link to my channel and I showed him that I've uploaded the video. It's doing numbers, Dad. I did what you asked me to do, and if need be, those other videos will be released. I promise you. And my dad was happy. I know my dad left this world a happy man. He was proud of me. He was aware of the fact that I am on the road to healing. He was aware of the fact that I've forgiven people who have done unforgivable things to me. And in turn, that helped him heal and forgive. Because once you cross over, there's no room for negative emotions. There's no room for grudges, for anger, for trauma, for a heart that is still holding on to pain, for a heart that still seeks revenge, for a heart that hasn't forgiven, for a heart that hasn't healed. So I know for a fact that my dad is good. I feel it. And I'm so proud of myself for doing that days before he chucked the deuces. He got to confirm that I did what he needed me to do. I reassured my father that I would be okay just before he passed on. And that makes me so happy. And the way it happened, nobody expected it. I mean, there were signs, there were dreams that I would have. But I was just like, no, there's no way. My dad, my gangster, my rock star, my twin, ain't no way. He's not going anywhere. That man is as strong as an ox. He's gonna outlive us all. My dad said his goodbyes so many times, but because Besbuga ngeso lenyama, we didn't understand that he was actually saying his final goodbyes. He was hinting, yo, I'm transitioning right now, and in a couple of days, I'm a bounce. And he made sure that I did what I needed to do before he bounced so that I clear his path as well. But I'm not gonna lie and say it hasn't been difficult. My dad had a mere flu and a headache for 4 days, and then he bounced. He told me about it, and I was like, yo, nah, mihe, I'm also going through the same thing. And he was like, but it's been like that since you were a baby. Whenever I'm ill, you're ill. Whenever I'm not okay, you're not okay, and vice versa, you know? But this time around, when he told me he wasn't okay, something deep down in my soul said, this is quite serious. And I remember him sending me voice notes of him coughing, and I was like, that's a bad cough. I know when you cough and when you sneeze, it's quite, because you've been smoking for a while. So I know some things are quite messed up in there, but there's no way that cough is just a normal cough. Please head to the doctor. At first, he didn't want to go to the doctor. My dad hated hospitals or anything that had to do with doctors, medical, healthcare, whatever. He was just like, no, I'm fine. I always get through things. I'll be fine. And I was like, nope. Ungadazingani, please don't be stubborn. Do this for me. And he was like, no, my baby. No, I'd rather use all this money that you've sent me for the ceremony that we're gonna hold next week. How about that? And I was like, nah, Pops, I'm gonna give you money for the ceremony because there won't be any ceremony without you. What happens if you don't make it? Don't worry about the money. I'll give you more money for that particular ceremony. Please sort yourself out, because if you're not okay, I'm not okay. And he was like, I'll be fine. It's not that deep. I can't breathe properly every now and then, but I'll be fine. You know me. And I was like, I know you, but right now I need you to go to the doctor ASAP. I'm telling you this. Please honor me, Dad, like I honor you. And he was like, okay, I got you. I got you, baby girl. And he went. And after having that conversation with my father, I spent that entire day worrying. I was calling everybody from my stepmom to my brothers to my mom to like everybody, because I just wasn't feeling okay. Something was off, and I felt like, no, this isn't the usual kind of sickness that he'd bounce back from. I mean, it's been 4 days, and typically my father and I bounce back within 2 days max. That's just how we're built. And I'm like, my dad's been sick for 4 days? Something's off. So he listened to me. He hid over to the doctor, sent me pictures while he was there, got his meds. He was like, it's nothing deep. Like I told you, I'll be fine. And he was like, thank you so much for all of this. Thank you for everything. He kept saying that over and over and over again. Thank you for everything, my child. And then he began to praise me by saying all our clan names, but he usually did that. But for me, it was just like the way he said it over and over again. I was like, what is going on here? And he was like, okay, now you can chill out. Now you can relax. Stop worrying. Stop calling everybody. I'll be okay. I now have my own pharmacy thanks to you. Okay? I'm fine. I'm okay, my child. I love you. And I was like, oh, music to my ears. I love you so much, Dad. And I remember telling him, you and my mom are my world, right? And he was like, showcase. And I was like, sharp gay. I love you. Good night. Apparently, he managed to fool everybody that day because he really got back on his feet and he was A-okay. So everybody went back to their normal lives. And when people came back from work and from school, they were like, oh, what's happening? Why is Dad in this condition now? And they were like, okay, well, clearly you're not A-okay, so we're gonna need to take you to the hospital. Oh my gosh. He was kicking and fighting and he was just like, nope. I'm not going to no hospital. I'll be fine. I just need to rest. And they were like, nope, you're going to the hospital. We're not going to let you perish here. Rather get some medical help. He didn't want to go, but they had to force him to go. Nobody told me that my father was in hospital throughout the weekend. I called him numerous times on Saturday. He didn't respond. He didn't pick up. Quite unusual, but I thought maybe he's out and about celebrating the fact that he's now A-okay, So I thought, okay, let me just chill. I'll call him again on Sunday. Sent him a couple of messages on Sunday and I was like, what is going on? I said the things that he'd usually say when he couldn't reach me and he'd be like, nya, what are you busy doing? So I was busy on some, baba, what's popping? What's going on, Dad? I miss you. I love you because that's the best that I could do. And I was hoping that as soon as he saw me blowing him up, he'd respond. And when I got back from work on Monday, after I had been ill the entire day, like I didn't even understand what was going on with me. I was just not okay. I received a call from my mom and she was like, my baby, please pray for your dad. He's in hospital. And I was like, what? He told me he was perfectly fine just a couple of days ago. And she was like, I didn't want to worry you, but he's in hospital. Just pray for him, my love. And I was like, surely my dad's going to be fine. But of course, I'll pray for him as per norm because I pray for my loved ones every single day. So I did. But before kneeling down and praying, I remember feeling like a part of me had been ripped out. I remember feeling my intestines or my intestines boiling. And I just felt really uneasy. I felt something I had never felt before. That feeling was just, I can't even explain it. But I know that people who have lost a parent know exactly what I'm talking about. So I took a deep breath. I said my little prayer for my dad and I was like, my dad's going to be fine. And immediately after saying that prayer, God said to me, when have I never given you what you needed? And I was like, my dad's going to be okay. So I relaxed. Went through my WhatsApp texts. I realized he hadn't responded and I was thinking, okay, maybe the doctors are still busy with him. He'll respond because I know he'll be fine. I remember sending my mom a couple of videos of myself when I was out and about and she was like, oh, you look fly, my baby. And I usually send both my parents my pictures and my videos just to keep them posted, just so they can see that their daughter's happy, healthy, doing well. And they just love it. Our parents love it when we send them pictures and we let them know what's happening in our lives, especially when it's just good things, So I sent those videos to my mom and she was like, ooh, whose child is this? And I was like, oh, I know for a fact that as soon as I send these videos to Pops, he's going to post them non-stop. But I didn't get to that point because something said to me, call mom too being my stepmom. And I called her and I was like, Ma, how's dad doing? And I remember hearing her voice shaking. She couldn't speak. It was almost as though I could hear and feel her heart beating through the phone. Like she was panicking. she didn't know what to say to me. And she just told me about my younger brother constantly fainting. And I was like, why would he constantly faint? What's wrong with him? And she was just speechless. So she was like, let me have you speak to your uncle, Uncle Matonzi. And I was like, okay. So because now I'm confused and my blood's boiling, every part of me is telling me that, okay, I'm about to receive bad news, but I also don't want to believe that it's the bad news that I think it is. Uncle Matonzi's like, hi, baby girl, how you doing? I'm like, I'm trying to hang in there, but I'm not okay. I've been ill throughout the day, and I'm just worried about dad. Especially because nobody informed me that, number one, his health was deteriorating, and number two, he had to be admitted. Esbedlela. This man is in a hospital. Nobody told me that. So now I'm freaking out. And please talk to me. And he was like, please talk to your mom, meaning my biological mom. And I was like, I just spoke to her. She told me he's in hospital and I need to pray for him. I just did, but something told me to confirm with Uma too what's happening, and he was like, please call your mom again. And at that very moment, I just wanted the ground to open up and swallow me because I knew what had happened, but I was hoping he'd say something else. And I remember saying, Uncle Matonzi, please be honest with me. And he was like, yes, my child, it's exactly what you think it is. And I was like, please be specific, because I wanted to actually hear him say it and I wanted to digest it so that I could be able to fully accept it, And he said, I'm so sorry, my child. Your dad loved you. Your dad appreciated you. Your dad bragged about you every single day of his life. I'm so sorry. We didn't want to worry you, hence we didn't tell you that his health deteriorated. We didn't want you to start panicking and perhaps make your way back home and then struggle to go back to work and then be stuck here at home and not be able to go on with life. We all understand that you can't make it here right now, so please just hang in there, be strong. Understand that not a day went by without your dad talking about you, bragging about you. He adored you, and I'm just so sorry. He would tell the whole world every single thing you would do for him. So we want you to know that he now lives in your heart and he's going to be your guardian angel. I genuinely wanted to die. I thanked my uncle for his honesty, and I remember just being numb. I was like numb because I was like, there's no way my dad, who I spoke to a couple of days ago, is no more. There's no way my dad would just shuck because of a flu, because of a headache. There's no way. The doctors or the nurses made a mistake. I was in denial, and I was so shocked. It seemed unreal. And I need you to understand that when you're grieving, you will go through these stages. You might not go through all of them, and they might not happen in linear fashion or linear motion, but you're highly likely to go through these stages, and they're absolutely normal. Don't feel like a weirdo. Don't feel like you're weak. Everything you're going to go through, everything you're currently going through if you're grieving right now is normal. Sisonke, we're in this together. And I know a lot of people tend to avoid talking about such sensitive topics, and I thought I would until one of my subscribers commented, you touch on topics that many people shy away from. And that's why I will forever appreciate you. And for me, that was God and my dad saying, talk about it. Not only will it heal you, but it will also help heal other people who are currently grieving. I had already been ill, but I started feeling excruciating pain that I can't even explain. Like literally, like a part of you is being ripped away slowly but surely. I then started to feel very guilty, and I was like, what could I have done differently to save my dad? I should have given him maybe more money so that whichever doctor or whichever nurse was helping him would have helped him in a different way and would have been more hands-on and focused solely on him and reviving him. I should have prayed harder, not knowing that my dad had already passed on before I said a prayer for him. I then felt guilty that I wouldn't be able to bury my own father. Because obviously with the Rona restrictions, you can travel, but you're not going to come back here. They don't want you to come back here. I mean, there aren't any more coronavirus cases here. So how are you going to go to a country that's struggling to combat and eliminate this virus and then expect to come back here and cause problems for us because you're highly likely to get it while you're there? So you're not allowed to come back. Kiss your jobs goodbye, kiss your businesses goodbye, kiss whatever else you have going on this side goodbye. So then now it's a thing of, how am I going to survive? How's everybody else who relies on me going to survive? You know, so I felt so guilty. I remember waking up the next day thinking that I was going to go to work and be productive and smile and laugh and pretend that nothing happened, because that's exactly what I did when I lost my aunt, my uncle, my grannies, my sister, my cousin, and all those other 9 people that I've lost while here. I genuinely believed that I could make it through the day. And as I stepped out of bed, my knees were so weak, like they had jello, and I was like, I can't even walk. How am I going to be productive? How am I going to be fully functional throughout the day with everything that I have to do? No. I'm going to have to sit this one out for the very first time in my life. I can't do it. I have to be a human being for the very first time in my life and accept the fact that I'm hurting. Told my colleagues, yo guys, I can't. Today, I can't. There's no way I'll be able to do anything. And they were like, knowing you, we were expecting you to attempt to come to work because that's what you do. You forget that you're a human being. Stop it. Stay home. Take as much time as you need. That felt really good because I always put other people before me, and I always wonder, oh my gosh, how are they going to cope if I'm not around with so much work that we need to cover every single day? Forgetting that when people are going through their own petty stuff, they miss work and they don't care about me. They don't consider how I'm going to get through each day. So why am I not looking after myself for a change, especially during such a difficult, challenging, painful time? And so for the first time in my life, I put myself first and I took 2 weeks off of work, and it helped a lot. But I'm not gonna say it was easy, because with each day, hell, with each moment, I'd feel different feelings. Sometimes I'd be like, Yazi, my dad actually said his goodbyes time and again. So I'm okay. It's okay. He's okay. We're good. I'm gonna be fine. Obviously this hurts because he's my dad. He was my world. But I'll be fine. He said goodbye. At least I got an opportunity to have a father and to have him say goodbye, even though I wasn't expecting him to actually leave, because I didn't take that goodbye as goodbye, goodbye. You know what I mean? And then 5 minutes later, I'd be like, I'm so mad. I'm so mad at my mom. I'm so mad at all my family members for keeping this from me. I could have saved my dad's life. But I also realized that them not informing me that my dad's health was deteriorating, and them not informing me that he was already in hospital, was their way of protecting me, was their way of not wanting me to panic and worry, because they knew how close we were. And they also weren't expecting him to pass on. They thought he'd be okay. And they planned to tell me after his return that, but he's good now, he's back, and all is well. You know what I mean? But it didn't work out the way that they wanted it to. And it didn't work out the way that I was hoping it would. There's no way I could have saved my dad's life. I'm not God. I'm godly, yes, but I'm not God. His time had come. I prayed for my dad. So I connected him with God. I reassured my dad that I had forgiven all the people who had hurt me. And I reassured him that I was on my journey to healing. And in turn, he had forgiven everybody who had wronged him. He had healed from all his traumas. His path was cleared and he was ready to go. I played my part as a daughter. And that's something I constantly need to remind myself, because every now and then I find myself blaming myself for not doing certain things. For example, there are things that I wanted to buy him. There are things that I wanted to do for him. But on particular dates like Father's Day or on his birthday or on Christmas, forgetting that we live on borrowed time. Ikusasa alaziwa, and every single moment is a huge blessing. Anything can happen. But because I'm such a perfectionist and I wanted to give him the best of the best, I was still saving up for Indumezulu, for this big thing, this huge celebration that I wanted to have for my dad. Not realizing that we ought to celebrate every single day. Use whatever you have, whatever it is you have, to make the most of each day. But at some point, I remember bargaining with God, asking him, pleading with God to take me. I was like, I just want to be with my dad. I wasn't ready for him to leave. So I want to be with him. I want to make sure he's okay. Please. I'll make sure my mom and everybody else who relies on me is A-okay, but just take me to my dad. Please, I'm begging you. But then God was like, nope, you don't get to ask me that. You still have your whole life to live. You have so much to do. Ain't no way I'm taking you. I took your dad, who's my child, because he served his purposes. And one of those purposes was to bring you here so you could fulfill your purposes. You're not done, Cece. He was done. He's good. I got him. Don't worry about it, sweetheart. Relax. Focus on your mom. Focus on those that matter. Focus on yourself and live. You'll be fine. Your dad is in your heart. Your dad is beside you every single day. And I got you. Most importantly, I'm God. I've got you. But then I started feeling very depressed. All the things that mattered, all the people that mattered, all the things that I'd usually do and enjoy, I don't want them anymore. I just wanted my dad, nothing else mattered. And I started feeling really annoyed at the fact that the world keeps spinning. The world doesn't stop on account of your pain and your suffering and your misery. People are happy. People are living their best lives. The show goes on and on and on, regardless of how you feel, regardless of how dark that pit that you're stuck in is. And I kind of now understand why miserable people want everybody to be miserable with them. I would never want anybody to feel that way. But I also understand that we're built differently. I also understand that our hearts are very different, and you'll be very disappointed if you think everybody's heart is like yours. There are people who actually rejoice at the misery of others. And I don't play with demons. But I was just really frustrated at the fact that I'm not being given an opportunity to just dwell in my depression, dwell in my misery, because it's part of the grieving process. I think so many people are used to me just carrying on, smiling, laughing, being my bubbly self, regardless of what happens in my life. And so people were hitting me up on some, hey, what's poppin'? Let's do this. Let's go here. And I was like, do you not understand what just happened? Give me some space. Give me some time. Because at this point, I'm not just grieving and mourning the loss of my father. Everything just came back. My cousin, my grannies, my sister, everybody that I've lost. I just realized that I didn't give myself time to mourn. I stayed in that denial stage for the longest time. And I told myself, the day I go home, I'm going to see all of these people. Partly because I wasn't part of the funeral preparation process. I was present in a financial sense because I contributed financially, but then I wasn't there. So it didn't really sink in. Ukuthi, la bantu abasekho. These people are gone. Secondly, I wasn't at the funeral. I didn't go to the gravesite or the graveyard and I didn't see ibhokisi lehla, you know? So the finality of it all hasn't hit me. But when my dad passed, he was like, stop everything and feel everything. So as much as that frustration and that denial and that depression are normal, I need you to not ruminate or dwell in those stages because you will crumble. And that's not what we want. We want you to feel so that you can heal, but we don't want you to stay in that negative state forever. That isn't healthy. So once you get out of that depressive state, and trust me, with God, you will be able to pick yourself up and move forward. I promise you that. Trust me. It's only been 2 weeks, but look at me. And I'm not saying I'm not going to cry immediately after filming this video, or I'm not going to cry on my dad's birthday in July, or during Father's Day, or I'm not going to crumble every now and then because I'm just going to be like, I don't have a father anymore. That is going to happen. But don't stay there. Don't stay in that dark pit. You will then go through something called an upward turn. During the upward turn, you become honest with yourself. You realize that we're all going to pass on at some point, and that once your time has come, it has come. Nothing and no one can stop it. God is in control, and nothing and no one is more powerful than God. You might also experience the reconstruction and working through stage. That's when you realize, it's time for me to do me. It's time for me to live for myself. And this isn't to say forget about everybody else, forget about all your loved ones, but it's important to also put yourself first, which is something I've been neglecting all my life. And for the longest time, I've attached my happiness to my parents. And that may sound cute, because whenever somebody would ask me, how are you doing? I'd be like, oh, I'm good, I'm great, I'm happy. My mom's great, my dad's amazing. I'm good. What more could I possibly wish for? Now that my dad is not here anymore, and everything pertaining to my well-being was tied to both my parents and their existence, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen to me? I'm not gonna be okay. I'm not going to be happy. I'm not going to be able to succeed because now one part of me is missing. Therefore, let your happiness be all about you. It starts here. Be good regardless of what's going on around you, regardless of how your parents or your siblings, your friends are feeling. Be happy within self, with yourself. Do not attach your happiness to a lover, a friend, a parent. Because when things don't work out with that lover or that friend, or when you lose that parent, or when that parent isn't okay, then you aren't okay either. And I always used to say, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'd do if I were to lose any of my parents. Actually, I'd die. But here I am. Scratch that, because the power of the tongue, I don't want to die. Honestly, I don't want to die. I have so much to live for, so much to do. And yes, I wish my dad would be a part of it, because I know he'd be ecstatic. He'd be so proud of me and he'd continue bragging about me. But I know he's good. I know he's happy. I know he's proud of me. I can feel it. I just wish he was right next to me and I could see it. I could literally see it. Sometimes your parents' main purpose is to deliver you. And once you're here, they pass on. Who's going to raise you? That's up to God. But you'll be good. You're here already. That means you survived so many things that happened prior to you existing in a physical sense. So you are meant to be here. So don't attach anything that has to do with your well-being to anybody else, regardless of how much they mean to you, how important they are to you. Because once those people aren't okay, or once there's a breakdown in that relationship, or once they're no longer here, what happens to you? And ultimately, you will get to the acceptance and hope stage. That is when you just accept that your parents or your loved one is no more in a physical sense, but they live on in your heart. They are now your guardian angel. Itongo elihle. They still love you. Your relationship isn't over. They're still proud of you. They still see everything that goes on in your world because they're now existing in another very powerful dimension, and they're everywhere. They see everything. They hear everything. They may even look out for you, mobaiza, because sometimes asibi wash. We get led astray, and they'll speak to you, that tiny voice, your conscience, God, your ancestors. Those are all your loved ones, the universe working together to make sure you walk in the right path. We're gonna be all right, okay? Stay strong. Break down if you need to, cry if you need to, reminisce, go through the pictures, the memories, everything. But please get back up. Retain your faith in the Lord. Put God first in everything that you do. Put yourself first. Don't forget about your loved ones. It may only be a handful of people who genuinely care about you, but understand that you mean the world to them. Don't shut them out. And yes, sometimes you'll need to isolate yourself every now and then. Let them know, I just need a break. Be patient with me. Bear with me. I love you. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. There are people who are constantly checking in on me. I see you. I haven't responded yet. I see you. There are people that I would have died on the cross for because I was so certain that they'd always have my back. They would always support me, yet they are nowhere to be found. Pay attention to that. Because truly, when days are dark, friends are few, and those very people will be the ones expecting money from you, things from you, support from you, invitations to your special ceremonies and celebrations and events. They'll want to sit at aflenile. They'll want to be considered as the main friend. They'll want to talk on behalf of the friends or the people closest to you. Meanwhile, when you were going through it, they were nowhere to be found. Not a text, not a phone call. Maybe they texted you on the day of the funeral and they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry this happened. They saw that you went AWOL for a while, which is unusual. They didn't even bother to check in. They don't even care whether you're dead or alive. And don't get me wrong, I do understand that we all have our lives, we all have our problems, but you make time for those who matter. I don't care how busy you are. You make time for those who matter. A text, 10 seconds. I hope you're good. Hi, I miss you. Are you okay? I love you. 10 seconds, 30 seconds max of your life. Yet you claim to love this person. Yet whenever things aren't working in your favor, this is the first person you call. You don't even have to call them. They'll realize something's off because they love you that much. When you go AWOL, they realize that, oh, so-and-so is AWOL, and this is unusual. And especially after something like this happened to them, let me check in on them. Sure, I don't want to pester them. I don't want to be a nuisance. But once in a while, let me show my love and support. That's what friends do. That's what family does. And I know you're going through the most right now, so you probably don't even have time to peep such things. But peep such things. It's so important to know where you stand with people. Don't you dare eat with people who didn't starve with you. Those people don't care about you. They're just rubbing shoulders with you because they will benefit. With that said, I know this was quite a heavy one, but I know it was much needed. There are people who still have both their parents. There are people who lost their parents who don't even know them. But there are people who are currently going through what I'm going through. And I know it'll help everybody. That's my duty. That's my purpose. That's exactly why God said, nah, you're not going anywhere. You're yet to fulfill gang purposes. And right now I'm about to make a couple of people very happy. Jabulile Nkambule, Nawe Lusanda Nzuza, you are the winners of the giveaway. Please drop me a DM on my Instagram to claim your prize. Love and light, guys.